the most powerful, the most abundant expression of the human desire to make things, to craft. Of course, in cities, buildings aren't standalone objects. They coalesce into a larger entity, one which is often ugly, amorphous, and oppressive, but which can occasionally also delight us and be beautiful. You know, the ancient Athenians had an expression which went, "We will leave this city not less, but greater, more beautiful than when we found it." If they can do it, why can't we? We make our built world, and we choose our landscape to live in. Some of us seek out the far-flung corners of the country. Others make their dreams of rural life come true. Millions of us choose the safety of the suburbs. And even more are attracted to the pace of city life. Over the last 15 years, I've watched Grand Design's self-builders in all of these places and seen how each different environment shapes the homes we build. Grand Design's projects are one-offs, and the people who build them, architectural experimentalists. They don't represent the mainstream fashions in architecture. They often foreshadow them, even set them. This programme is all about building in the city and how that band of architectural pioneers strive to make the urban jungle a more civilised, more beautiful place. Of course, the design process is all about making the world a better place, about making it more sustainable and efficient, more practical, more delightful. And to reach these goals in the overcrowded and noisy urban environment, I want to explore how grand designers find solutions by squeezing their houses into the tiniest of spaces. By digging down, they try to keep their neighbours happy and risk all to save derelict buildings.
I did not have enough money in the bank to buy a sandwich.
Conjuring space and light out of nothing, putting their futures at risk.
It's the last one. Come on, you should be feeling strong. Go. Put it on there. Put it on there. Come on there. On there. Go on. Go on.
Stupid.
And relationships on the line.
Sometimes we have massive fights and we sort of say, is it worth it? Was this all worth it? What is it all for?
But their heroic struggles do yield results.
What a jaw-dropping showstopper of a building. Feels gorgeous. Giant piece of licorice. Oh, this is great, isn't it?
It's the biggest achievement in my life.
How can we learn from the best examples, from the grand designs of this world? How can we learn how to improve our homes and our streets? And how can we solve some of the big problems that urban life throws at us? In the UK, 80% of us are urban dwellers, and every year more and more of us flock to our cities. They are economically attractive, they are social magnets. They suit us because we're social creatures.
When you think of urban life, it's almost sort of promiscuous in the sort of true sense of the word. You just have the chance to meet and mingle with people on a scale that's unimaginable. And with it, you get a sense of the whole world coming to your city. You know, where people meet, good things happen.
But London's population is bigger than it has ever been. 8.25 million, and still rising by 100,000 every year.
Finding somewhere for everybody to live is the key question facing policymakers in Britain today, because although Britain is an old country, long established, it actually by European standards has a fast rising population, and that means that we are generating more people need to be housed every year, and the amount of house building doesn't keep up with it. Thus we see an effort to take a little piece of space, squeeze more people into the space we've got.
The question in the 21st century is how much extra space is there to re-densify? And the answer is actually quite a lot. The problem is that those spaces aren't always obvious. To many of us, they just appear as a place to dump a mattress or the odd fridge.
Whereas to the self-builder, for example, those pioneers, they represent an opportunity to build, to repair a place, to regenerate it.
If there's one thing urban grand design self-builders have shown us, it is the art of squeezing.
Looks like a very long flared garage.
Flared garage?
Well, that's the kind of shape it's in.
Welcome to our rubbish dump.
Full of buddleia. How do you feel now, as owners of this very beautiful triangle?
It's sort of on the cusp of making a long time dream real.
It sort of opens up as we come in, as you'll see.
And what are you going to stick on it? What are you going to build here?
2 houses.
2 houses?
2 houses, not 1 but 2.
In the scramble to live in our cities, perhaps the one thing we've all had to sacrifice is space. We now live in the incredible shrinking house. Our homes are the smallest in Europe. The average new home is around about 1,000 square feet, which is half the size it was in the 1920s. And if you're thinking of buying a 1-bedroom apartment, then it will be about the same size as this London Underground carriage.
But some people who have a little cash and don't want to live in a tube carriage do that subversive thing. Find a plot of land and self-build. In 2007, I met carpenter Bill Bradley and his wife Sarah, who planned to build 2 houses on the site of Bill's joinery workshop. The budget for the land and the houses was £500,000, mostly borrowed from the bank. It led to financial risk and a host of construction problems.
So how are you going to build houses here? I mean, you've got all these neighbours around you. You're looking into their gardens, they're looking into yours. How does all that work?
Well, it's all kind of centred around a courtyard, so hopefully the main bit of glass is the courtyard. So
just the middle?
That's going to be, yeah, the middle of each of the houses, so it should be pretty sheltered.
Enclosed?
We don't want to overlook our neighbours. We don't want them overlooking us.
It was a mighty task, one to which Bill and his architects Hampson Williams rose to.
I mean, there's a lot happening here. It's going to be an interesting ride, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's pretty ambitious.
These sort of unloved plots that you find, in London, there is a process by which you kind of take them and you love them and you design them and you make them into something very special. But I think when that happens, you get some quite interesting and significant answers to the bigger questions like, well, how can we live in a city? Well, what should a city look like?
It took a pair of young architects to see what their unloved plot could become. It was one of the first self-builds I ever visited. A decidedly scrappy corner of trendy Islington in North London, penned in by a high-speed railway line. It was, though, the apple of Sarah Wigglesworth and Jeremy Till's eye.
We think that many people didn't spot its potential. I mean, most of these buildings, the rain's coming in, the buddleia is growing out of the ceiling, there are holes everywhere, and so we just took the view that we were going to get rid of the whole lot and start all over again.
Architects aren't magicians, they don't perform tricks, but they are Imagineers. They are highly pragmatic, creative people whose job it is to exploit every design opportunity going. Take Sarah Wigglesworth, for example. Just because her house is built right next to the Great Northern Railway line into central London, that doesn't mean to say that she has to put up with the tremors from the 4:53 to Stevenage every day. No, nor indeed does it mean that she had to build her house right at the back of her plot. Instead, what she came up with was a revolutionary idea for the foundations of her building, on springs.
This one is a tower spring. They're all designed, you see, for the relative loading. As the load of the building goes on, they gradually go down and then they'll reach their optimum level.
Right.
The brilliant springs absorbed the vibrations from the high-speed trains, allowing Sarah to build right up to the railway line. And the rather unique sandbagged wall provided buffering against the noise.
This looks fantastic, I think, this wall, doesn't it?
I think it's lovely. I'm very pleased with it.
Most things about this house were experimental. From those springs to the straw bale insulation, from the gabion pillars to what looks like a nappy-wrapped wall. and something new back then, a grass roof. Then these ideas were cutting edge. Now they're part of our everyday.
You were doing stuff in the city which people really weren't doing and which have had an effect.
I think the key thing that we did was really to raise the idea of a green building in an urban setting, you know, what that might be about. The second thing is really thinking about materials as a waste stream. So how you could incorporate recycled materials and materials that are byproducts from other things, particularly crop-based materials like timber and straw. And you know, that has now become much more mainstream, but I think when we did it, people really didn't get that. You know, it was very pioneering.
Carving out a little private space for new experimental designs is what self-building in the city is all about.
Space, or rather the lack of it, is a really interesting thing. We tend to think of the small home as a negative, as though small is the worst of all possible worlds, which is a myth, because what matters is not the size of the space we have, as much as the way that we creatively organise it, the way we articulate it, perceive it. Then it starts to get interesting. I mean, just because city dwellers are packed in like sardines doesn't mean to say that we all have to be shoved into sardine tins. The difficulties of building in the city often lead, paradoxically, to better architecture. When you put the architect under pressure, when there's an active, engaged client involved, when the circumstances are difficult, that's when you get a better building. And right at the centre of the design process is the essential problem of space. How to make it, wrangle it, contain it, and create it from nothing.
Once you've found your minuscule, irregular-shaped, overpriced plot of land in the city, how do you make it work for you? What can you do with probably not enough space and not enough light? Back in the last century, we met jeweller Sarah Jordan and photographer Conall Jay, who found a row of garages in London. The plot was long and thin, 29 metres by 7. Not many people would have taken that shape on.
I have to say, this place is not easy to find. It's kind of really tucked away.
The temptation might have been to fill every inch of this little plot with house. But their architect, Mike Tonkin, was much cleverer than that. He did something radical. He devoted over half the space to a pond.
So is this space working out as you thought it would?
I think it's working out better than we thought it would, to be honest. I was quite sort of worried that the rooms were going to seem too small over there, but when you're standing in it, it seems like...
Right. But it starts to create its own little world, and I think that's really interesting. It makes me think we're probably going to never leave or forget in.
What could have been thought of as wasteful, the oversized watery courtyard, gave the house transparency and an illusion of space. And by using glass walls and airy colonnades, the whole layout just felt bigger.
What an amazing space, what an amazing view down the end.
It delivered.
It's just going to be fantastic sitting here and reading the papers and drinking coffee on a Sunday morning.
What this house did so successfully was to turn its back on the conventional. What made the difference was a layout that suited just them. No one else.
Most of us want the same things. We want space. Space is the greatest luxury. We want high ceilings. We want big windows. We want a quality of materials behind us, whether it's concrete or brick or timber. And it's so disappointing that the mass house builders, by and large, aren't providing that.
We love individual responses, the bespoke, the unique, the idiosyncratic. And I think we see that now as part of our right to have that voice.
The traditional world of the 2 up and 2 down is a disappearing lifestyle. In 2012, I met London artists Steve and Tracy Fox. Their small plot of land, tucked away behind a row of shops, was fenced in on all sides. They set about customizing it to precisely their needs and tastes.
It's pretty much a square.
Yeah? What's the polite word? Ramshackle.
Ramshackle, indeed.
It's very creative. And what then do you replace it with?
Something like some glamorous shed. Just quite using those kinds of materials like corrugated cladding and polycarbonate glazing, but just making the details look really sharp.
If the outside was going to look dangerously unconventional, the interior layout was even more progressive. There was precious little room for the living areas as well as the workshops they wanted.
This is my workshop here,
man.
studio.
This is
That's a nice
charming, and you've got this big picture window. Does this open? Yeah.
It does.
Wow. Do you know, this is about 3 times the size I thought it would be.
It's got to be some weird perspective thing.
Well, no, I think it's just the way that you enclose and use space.
Steve and Tracy decided to devote just over a quarter of their floor space to their 2 workshops. So they had to find ways of articulating enough living space from what was left. They did away with internal walls, doors and corridors, and built a raised walkway linking the whole house together up in the air.
This is part corridor, part gallery, isn't it?
Self-built homes like this that explore new ideas about layout are almost part of a movement that's been gathering momentum.
I suppose the biggest changes in terms of the way that a house is designed now to the way it would have been sort of 50 or 100 years ago are the way we use different spaces in different ways. Spaces for entertaining. People entertain at home more now, but they also live and work at home. So spaces that allow you to be able to do your work, then shut that off. So again, that's a kind of about creating a flexible space that can work in different ways.
I think there's a massive sea change after the 2 world wars. Back then, we as people were happy to accept that we should live like this, with a scullery and a little kitchen and a little room and an outdoor toilet. And, you know, after a while, I think they sort of said, well, we're going to do something different. People said, bugger that, I don't need this wall and I don't need that wall. And actually, you know what? We've outgrown the Victorian template.
Architect Carl Turner took open plan to the next level when he built in South London's inner city borough of Brixton. There wasn't a corridor in sight, and certainly no scullery.
This is on wheels.
It is like a mobile room, really. So it's a kind of room or a desk.
So what? You can sort of rotate it around the room.
Yeah.
It's a moving room. It's terrific.
And the surprises in the layout kept coming.
Is this a door or a wall or what?
It's a moving wall.
It's both.
Yeah.
Oh, they both move. You can have an open bath.
Yes.
Or not. That's rather neat.
3 years on, I'm back to see what Carl has learned by building an urban terraced house.
Given the fact that traditional terraced houses in cities have a very 19th century, very formal layout, do you think that there is a good 21st century, more informal layout? Does this house present it? Have you discovered that layout yet?
We are still messing around with it, with ideas, but I think, yeah, this is back to original kind of, you know, weavers' houses from the sort of 18th century, thinking about buildings where people can live, they can work, they can have families staying with them. It's a much more flexible way of living.
The lack of space, new layouts and new live-work uses for our urban homes collectively raise the big challenge of storage. In South London, filmmaker and amateur inventor Monty Ravenscroft magicked a home from a tiny space, complete with a multifunctional approach to storage.
But there is something else happening to the bed. It's very exciting too. Lo and behold.
It's a wet bed.
It's not a wet bed.
What a ridiculous
That's
idea.
one of those spa baths with bubbles.
That's absurd.
I did think the bath under the bed was a bit comical, but Monty was deadly serious. The house was ingenious, every nook and cranny cleverly used. A masterclass in storage, like a boat.
Oh my goodness. It's brilliant. What a solution. I tell you, this place is so well thought out. Actual physical space in a building is of course important, but just as critical is a perception of space, a sense of it, a connection to it. And for that you can cheat with glass.
There is a real trend at the moment towards a lot more glass in architecture, in used in a different way. I mean, obviously in the 60s, There was a lot of glass boxes being built. The trouble was that they were often single glazed and you were basically sort of in a freezing greenhouse. But the great thing was that it pumped light in, it brought the inside, outside, merged into, and made you feel like you were in a bigger space than you had. And that's really important in urban architecture.
And now, finally, glazing technology has caught up with aspiration.
The use of glass is much more sophisticated now. Glass has got cheaper. It's double glazed, it's triple glazed, it has argon inert gases swirling around in it, which means that it can be an insulating material. You can run an electric current through glass, so it can go from being opaque to transparent, so that you don't have to have great big curtains and all that sort of thing.
None of the ambiguity or the connection that buildings have with the outdoors would be possible without decent glazing. The trick in the urban setting is to angle and direct light where it's most needed.
One of my fundamental principles is how to capture light, because I know it's important to well-being. And that might be give over a whole wall to one plane of a window, but it might be just putting in a very small roof light just to make sure that you have that connection. So it's about kind of calibrating where the light is going to have the most impact.
If, like Monty Ravenscroft, you've squeezed your house into a minuscule space and have no outside walls, then put your windows in the roof.
Look at that. How is that? Sex on runners, or what?
Walking into the room, you knew the skylight was there, but you didn't really see the sky, but look at that. Great, huge rectangle of blue. It does change it from being a room to almost to a garden, like a terrace.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not just space that we crave, but the outdoors. Some kind, any kind of garden. And that is what David and Anjana Devoy did have in built-up South London. When I met them, I could see they wanted nothing more than to create some space. Cramped didn't describe their home.
Because it is compact, isn't it, this house?
It's strategic living. It's a bit like playing chess being in this house.
It's been pretty bad, actually. It's got to be the honest answer.
They might have had a tiny house, but it had a large garden. An ideal building plot, if it weren't for the large chestnut tree right in the middle. Making a virtue of necessity, they designed a wall to their new home of curved glass, which saved the tree and cleverly embraced their new garden.
And the garden is rather lovely.
On a duller day, of course, you feel like there's nothing between you and the garden, and so you feel like you're in this enormous living room.
Of course, glass is a two-way thing. It lets in light and views, but it also allows people to see in, which creates problems of privacy in the city. Bill's plot was overlooked by dozens of neighbours. It was in an enclosed space between their back gardens. Bill's architect's solution was ingenious. Narrow windows angled up, down and every which way.
Is every window different?
Yeah, every single one.
Every one?
Every one, yeah.
How many windows are there?
The angled roof windows, about 28.
In the pursuit of light, views and privacy, Bill was pushing at the boundaries of urban design.
Very tight in this, Steve. You see, at the top, the glass is touching the steel. At the bottom, there's a big gap here. This glass, the whole sheet needs to slide over, but it can't. They can't fit it in. For the whole, the piece of glass is too big. It ain't going to fit the hole, is it?
And essentially, it's the wrong size.
But his project was a success. Bill added a couple of new design solutions to the toolbox of urban architecture, for which he and his architects deserve full praise.
These sheeted glimpse windows. You really have to strain to look into somebody's house, don't you? You're standing here, you've got to stand right in front of the glass, haven't you, to be seen?
Yeah.
Bill made a little private world thanks to a few brilliant ideas, some smoke and some mirrors. He demonstrated that a brilliant idea need cost no more than a rubbish one, and he placed his faith in the design process and the results it can deliver. But because of the lack of space and the crowded and noisy environment of the city, I've seen, over the past 15 years, our self-builders going that extra mile and risking all to find enough space by digging down.
If you think of the skyline of any city, chances are it looks like this. Tower blocks, spires, cranes. You know, when land is really expensive, then we tend to build up. But now, partly thanks to technology and also the ludicrous value of land in our city centres, it's viable to go the other way, to go down.
Digging down was probably the only solution for Jonathan Broome and Deborah Sheridan Taylor to make the most of their tight plot. They were hemmed in by 14 houses. They excavated 6 meters down to form a cavernous basement.
My God, that is a hole. It's like being inside the prow of a great concrete ship.
Jonathan's awesome engineering feat looked like madness, but with the exorbitant land values in London, it made good economic sense. Over in expensive Kensington, architect grand designer Ian Hogarth always planned to double the size of his tiny plot by digging a basement.
Typically around here, I think property sells at about £1,300 a square foot. Digging costs about £300 a square foot. So the moment the price per square foot of selling a property is substantially more than building it, people will build on the ground.
To make matters worse for Ian, his plot was directly over a buried river, and he knew he would encounter the perils of digging into the water table. Very little will get in the way of water when it wants to go somewhere. However smart Ian was, water was smarter.
Piles which are supposed to be continuous and in a straight line look like crooked teeth at the moment, which structurally is absolutely fine, but the purpose of them being in a straight line is to create a dam. So when you dig down, the water is stopped, or at least slowed down. This is going to pour through those.
Digging down is fashionable in London, and the complexity and sheer disruption of the process puts everyone under immense pressure. As Ian and Claire found out when they called a meeting to explain their plans, and discovered just how worried the neighbours were.
I'm just gobsmacked that you'd want to spend that amount of money building a house on that piece of land with the railway right behind your house.
Could I answer, please? Could I answer?
Excuse me. I am suspicious of your motives. I understand you want a nice house, but I'd like it to be neighbour-friendly.
It's obvious, isn't it, that the self-builders live where they build. They become connected to a place, partly through the process of building, especially in the city where it can be a real squeeze. So what's the key thing here? What is the critical consideration when planning for a happy future life in a community? Your neighbours. Back in 2001, Milko and Louise Ostendorf thought their neighbours wouldn't be much of a problem. Their derelict Victorian violin factory in London was in a rundown semi-industrial wasteland. Extraordinary view up here, isn't it? A little slice of Victorian London, but it's surrounded by Waterloo East stations, Waterloo over there, there's high-rise blocks. But during their nearly £2 million renovation, they had to rebuild a section of a party wall they shared with an orchestra. The planning application specified a certain brick, London stock. But Louise and Milko built it with pink flettons, and a long-running dispute unfolded.
If they'd said one day to us, we're going to put flettons in there, do you mind? You don't expect that that you're left out of the equation when it's your property that you're talking about.
So what's the solution? Do they tear it down and rebuild it?
You see, that's unfair to ask us that question. Totally unfair. It shouldn't be there in the first place, and we don't have an answer.
This left Milko and Louise essentially with two choices. Take down the wall, an expensive and time-consuming option, or try to persuade the orchestra to accept the wall as it was. It was clearly a painful experience all round.
We never really realised that there are people who can be so uncooperative that it's sort of, you have to see them as an enemy.
They just don't want you to live here.
But they're not the enemy, Milka. They're just protecting what's
No,
theirs.
I really think they didn't want us to be here.
The dispute dragged on for years until it was finally settled. Louise and Milko didn't have to rebuild the wall.
I think the challenge of being a self-builder in the city is knowing that you're probably going to make a lot of people very unhappy. You're changing the status quo. You've just got to have persistence. Amazing tenacity and persistence.
Getting the neighbours on side does require a lot of energy, but it also needs a degree of humility, a lack of greed, and a commitment to not build crap. I mean, the reason people object so often in our built environment is because they fear that change is going to degrade their lives, not improve them. So what we need to be doing in our cities is putting up buildings of quality.
But the thing is, our urban centres will have to continue absorbing hundreds of thousands of people this year and every year for the foreseeable future. Sometimes, instead of creating new buildings, we have to reuse what's already there.
What I think often defines our cities is what makes Manchester different from Liverpool, different from Sheffield, and it's the historic heritage buildings. And these have got a big place in people's hearts and a familiarity with them. And, I think it's important to save those with a sense of heritage.
I've been amazed by how many grand designers over the years have made their lives a great deal tougher by taking it upon themselves to do just that. Save our heritage.
Regeneration doesn't always happen with some central government strategy or some well-meaning charitable initiative, but rather with individuals, with people who decide they want to look after and love a little scuzzy corner of the city. Those people, they're the real catalysts for change.
In 2011, Gwyn and Kate ap Harry embarked on a crusade to conserve and reinvent a landmark, a derelict cinema in the Yorkshire town of Thorn.
What a state. You can't make a hash of this.
No.
That couldn't look any worse.
We love this town. And so much of Thorn is falling apart, and it's been left to fall apart, and I don't believe this town deserves that. And I suppose there's a bit of, let's do a little bit for Thorn.
It turned out to be more than a little bit. They carefully repaired the old cinema facade.
It's absolutely fantastic. I can't kick my eyes off it. It's like backwards painting. It's like the painting bricks back onto my house.
Revitalising it so it could once more assert itself on the high street.
I got fed up with people saying what a tip the place was, what a state all the old buildings were in.
I'm so pleased that the whole thing has just been pulled down.
Absolutely, yeah.
Kate and Gwyn were investing not just in the cinema, but in the town.
We'd rather make where we are better than move somewhere else.
It's looking very different, isn't it? Hey?
What do you think?
Cleaned up really, really well.
I knew it was going to be nice, but I didn't think it would be this beautiful.
Now it has a real palatial quality about it.
Of course, it's no longer a cinema, it's a radical home. But both the new work and the restoration lay down a marker that is the beginning of urban regeneration in Kate and Gwyn's hometown.
I think people appreciate the fact that, we've been brave and that we've done it here.
I love the old bit, that means so much that we've done that in Thorn. In our hometown we've made it look good again.
At a regeneration level, what happens, which is really special, is when you get that vanguard of the one individual, somebody else follows, another, and you get a demographic shift. And that's what cities depend on.
But the energies we put into making and remaking our environment need to be fed. We too need replenishing and renewing, and we use our gardens and our homes to provide sanctuary.
Cities have always provided for spiritual release in the form of churches and temples and gardens and cathedrals. And that opportunity for meditation has traditionally been a communal one. So it's really rather rare and indulgent, isn't it, to incorporate the sacred space into your own home. There are many people who've built much more indulgent sacred spaces than yours. You know, they've got pools or they've got yoga rooms. Yours is really a sun terrace, isn't it? It's a roof deck.
It's just a place where, in the centre of London, you can sit and contemplate, watch the kind of airliners fly over, and also get those amazing views of the city. And it's just about that place where you can be apart from the city, looking at the sky. Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
Sanctuary can come in many forms. Some are quite simple. Others, like in the Hidden House in Kensington, are a little eccentric. Disco floors in your sitting room aren't normal. What can be seen by some as indulgent should perhaps be simply celebrated.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful space to be in, even though it has been difficult.
We've dreamt about this. You know, I've been dreaming about actually sitting downstairs with my feet up on a comfy swing seat. But now suddenly it's all in place. We have created this in large part.
Of course, these private, sacred spaces aren't really private at all, are they? Because we're always going to share them with our friends and family. It's in our nature as social creatures that we're never going to have them to ourselves. And as our cities become more and more cramped, so we're going to have to learn how to share more of what we have and more of what we build.
The pioneering self-builders who've chosen to live in the city set out to solve those age-old urban problems of noise, dirt, and cramped spaces. What have we learned from them as they've tried to make cities better places to live in?
There's no doubt that the city is the home of the avant-garde. Just as the countryside is the home of the traditional, so contemporary architecture belongs in the city. Cities are generally more tolerant of diversity and tolerant of change.
They're where we can and should be pushing the boundaries of architecture.
It can't be more crucial in a city to get it right. I mean, where do you have so many people together at that moment, but also for the future? You have to think of the future generations. You can't be interested in the wow of now. It's about a really sort of far-sighted view to see what you're leaving, what's your bequest to future users.
But when affordable housing in our cities is in such short supply, it surely seems perverse to be looking to the bespoke one-offs that have been the meat of grand designs.
So, what's the point? I mean, why should we care about these houses and these people? I mean, what have they done for us? What can we learn from them? Well, I believe that innovation, prototyping, experimentation, risk-taking, all these things produce change. So that what the trailblazers, what the mavericks are doing right now, we'll all be doing in 10 or 15 years' time. Contemporary architecture in the city? Absolutely. Super sustainable and zero carbon? Of course. Buildings that promote an ecological lifestyle and promote sharing? Why not? Beautiful? I certainly hope so.
Grand Design's architect Carl Turner is using what he learned building his high-end, award-winning, reinvented terraced house for his current low-cost housing project in central Brixton. This time, he's using old shipping containers for this community live-work scheme.
It's the link between your house, which is very, very top-end, and this very, very accessible public scheme. Is that not tenuous?
No, not at all. In fact, the house was regularly referred to as the shipping container house. Many people actually think it's just simply 3 shipping containers stacked on end, which obviously I did take slight offence to at the time. But no, it was a very modular house, and in a way, this has got lots of similarities, like boxes stacked on top of each other. And I think this is a project which is much less about kind of architecture and more about people and about creating a place. But yeah, based around that kind of simple unit of space.
Here, on a Brixton car park, Carl can employ his architectural brilliance and expertise to make a more down-to-earth project.
regeneration often starts, doesn't it, with the kind of individuals caring for a place, wanting to commit to it, which is what you did, you know,
exactly.
kind of fairly, you know, big way. And what you're really saying is actually that's going to be a qualifying condition of actually being able to come here. You've got to demonstrate a commitment to this place.
Yeah, you're going to have to be committed to the idea of the whole project. You can't. We're not just going to give you a space so you can kind of lock yourself away and not be involved. You're going to have to get involved in the bigger picture, and you know that's what's going to make it special, hopefully.
Carl's 21st century agenda for change is architecture as a social instrument that can connect more of us to place and to each other.
I'm a firm believer that you don't get change without mavericks. You need mavericks who go out there and, you know, trailblaze. You know, you cannot get consensual radical change. They're kind of oxymoronic. You know, the radical is usually the gifted individual who's kind of changing the way that we just sense the world.
One radical idea that we keep revisiting is the high-rise tower block. They were conceived as utopian solutions, but used as blunt tools to scoop up the communities broken up by slum clearance. By the late 1960s, London alone had 2,700 council-owned tower blocks, although that number is now decimated. And high-rise has become synonymous with luxury apartments, not family living. But given the lack of urban space and the more sophisticated ways we now allocate homes, can we not make them work for social housing?
The trick is to take the most innovative architectural ideas from the pioneers, from the one-off projects, and make them available to everyone.
This is Queen Elizabeth Park, Stratford, the site of 15,000 new apartments over the next 15 years. Most of these tower blocks were originally built for Olympic athletes, but they were always intended to eventually house Londoners. And this block, designed by Deborah Sant, is a model of some of the architectural ideas espoused in contemporary homes by self-builders. It starts in the atrium, a space enjoyed every day by resident Frank de Silva.
It looks from the inside to be a building twice as tall as that on the outside. It's epic, isn't it, inside? And all the balconies let onto this space, so wherever you want, wherever you live, you've got borrowed light inside the building.
Borrowed light inside.
It's something else. It's really it's quite heroic, isn't it?
This colossal atrium would, for many developers, be an extravagant waste of space. But as we've seen, the ingenious use of light, soaring views and life-enhancing, luxurious spaces can all be conjured without breaking the bank.
People actually say, come on, you guys must have had a bigger budget for your building to get this fantastic, spectacular atrium space. But do you know we didn't? We just had a different intention. We put a value on natural light and that sense of community that an atrium brings. And so we scrimped and saved on everything else.
But the atrium, of course, hasn't used up all the money.
Thank you. Oh, that's exceptional.
Each flat is a small masterpiece.
Nice view, eh?
Great view, straight out. I think it's great to have this view out. Really clever piece of theatre. You expect an enclosed space, maybe dark, a blank wall in front of you. Not this. So much light and so much contact with the
It's
outdoors.
one thing we love living here. Like in the morning we get the light coming from there. Beautiful sunsets over here.
And a garden to look over. I mean, a lovely piece of public realm. You don't need to own it to enjoy it, do you?
Of course not. Design is everything, you know. Like, why put everybody together in one block? Like, if you can design something like this with space, light, I think that makes a big difference.
Each apartment has its own generous balcony, giving that precious link with the outdoors.
This is big enough to... It's like a miniature garden out here.
What we did is put ourselves into that sort of role of going into the apartment and maximise the sense of space. That took a lot of work to achieve that, but it wasn't more expensive.
We seem, in the end, to all like and want space, or a sense of it. Connection, a slice of nature, light, and a gesture of glamour and humanity in our buildings.
If you create something of good quality for people, particularly mass housing, it makes them feel valued.
That's the power of architecture, a universal potency to make us feel better. Buildings are not just piles of steel and brick. They can be, especially in the city, an exciting environment, one to inspire us and nurture us if we shout for it loud enough.
Very early on, I said I wanted to live in a sort of urban oasis, and I think I've nailed it.
It feels very sort of simple and pure and serene.
It has everything that I could want, This house has a soul.
I absolutely love living here, and it's a real haven.
It has been an obsession. A magnificent obsession.
These ideas of the home as a serene oasis or a haven, as a place with soul, light, adaptability and connection, should be held sacrosanct by urban designers, developers and government alike. They should be falling over themselves to build more homes like these.
Who leads the pack? It's the builders, of course, the makers of places, the self-builders, the grand designers of this world. They are the makers of tomorrow's urban myth. Turning your back on civilization to live in the remote wilderness, it's not for everybody. To go and live out there, you need to be a bit out there.
Free power, yes.
It's going to be a bit like a control tower.
A little bit like a control tower, yes.
2 flagstones blew off our patio the other day. That's when you know it's quite windy.
This is unlike anywhere I've ever been.
Same time next Monday, Kevin MacLeod will be back with a new episode, this time with those living in the wild. Next up tonight, when all the usual avenues of finding love have been exhausted, why not let science help out? Brand new Married at First Sight on 4.
Like so many people, you may feel like dropping out, lock, stock and barrel, moving to a remote part of Britain like this and going off radar. But it doesn't come without its challenges. For example, how do you survive in the wilderness? How do you resource yourself? And where do you live? What kind of house do you build in a place like this? Over the past 15 years, I've been struck just how the people, the self-builders that we filmed on Grand Designs, have been the real experimentalists and pioneers in our built world.
The places they've built, like all good architecture, represent them, of course, but also represent where they are. The design of these homes flexes with the surrounding environment. In the city...
Wow! Do you know, this is about 3 times the size I thought it would be. It's just the way that you enclose a new space.
In the sprawl of our identikit suburbs.
I think of this as a bit of a model house, you know.
In the depths of our conservative countryside.
They wanted to show that you could bring this very traditional material right to the cutting edge of modern architecture.
And out on the edges of society in our remotest reaches.
This is unlike anywhere I've ever been. That's Mordor.
In this programme, I'm journeying to the remotest parts of Britain to look at how our wildest landscapes inspire us to inhabit them and to understand what it is within us that yearns for the wilderness. I want to examine how we design for these most rugged of environments, how traditional buildings in the wild have informed contemporary design, and how self-sufficiency, salvaging and building with local materials are all essential to a fully rounded life in the remote.
Free power! Yes!
Living a remote existence doesn't always mean moving to a desert island. You can cut yourself off from society, choose to live off-grid and separate yourself from other people anywhere. A remote way of life is therefore an attitude, a state of mind that places you outside conventional society. And it takes a certain kind of person.
If you want to live off the grid, out of the way, well, here's a checklist for you, because I can tell you it's not for everybody. You need to be stoic and self-reliant. You also need to be comfortable in your own company and your own skin. A person who doesn't get bored that often, because sometimes there's just nothing to do. And also, you need to be somebody who's prepared to go and catch their own meal and then cook it, and for that matter, knit your own socks. To go and live out there, you need to be a bit out there. And not least because the weather can be savage in the wilderness. To live in the remote is to define your life by weather. Lashing hail and snow, gale-force winds, and icy Arctic rain.
In an odd way, it's quite exhilarating, and I think it's part of life in a remote area. Sometimes it feels like, you know, there's like a giant outside pushing against the side of the house, and you hear it shifting and moving. Winds and things like that will fly around. It's a wee bit like scenes out of The Wizard of Oz, you know, it's kind of
In building a house that can withstand savage weather in areas like the west coast of Scotland, there are valuable lessons to be learned from vernacular buildings.
I'm very struck by the fact that these materials, which are stone, lime, turf and thatch, you can find actually all over the British Isles, and for example in the home counties, they'd be configured in a very different way to produce a very different kind of building. Here, this wall is sloped. This waterproof capping leads to another soft, curving roof. There are no sharp edges here on this building, nothing for the wind to catch. This is a building designed to withstand 100-mile-an-hour gusts. This is an aerodynamic building.
There's a reason why buildings and architecture develop a certain way in a certain place, because the ones that are there are the ones that work. Traditionally, designing in the remote, you would end up with walls 1.5 meters thick. Now that's to protect from the elements, keep the water out and try and keep some element of warmth in.
Windows used to be very small because they let the cold in. It's less architecture and more engineering that comes from a sort of tradition of knowing how to create a building that will last a long time. So they did it 500 years ago, it worked, so why on earth would you change it now?
Which is why Adrian and Karina chose to carry on in that vernacular tradition when they decided to restore this old cottage on a windswept, rainy mountain in Wales. They intended to build in the traditional style of the local cottages with their thick stone walls and small windows. The old building that was here had lasted for 300 years until a tree-felling accident destroyed it.
We're hoping that eventually it is going to be rebuilt as it formerly stood into a cottage.
Where's your nearest neighbour?
Roughly they're all a mile away.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It's quite nice, yeah.
It's a long walk for a cup of sugar.
But though they'd chosen to build using tried and tested materials and methods, they couldn't escape the difficulties of building halfway up an exposed Welsh mountain with no shelter. Their insulation just blew away.
Hardly worth the effort. Just found 2 more sheets down in the gully down there, but they're broken up. And there's one way down through the trees down there.
Landslides threatened to destroy the house as it was going up.
The worst problem we've got is that the land there is going to give way and probably end up against the house again.
Freezing temperatures on the mountain made it impossible to build on some days.
The weather is so cold, you can't use the cement. Basically, the water in the cement expands and it crumbles, so it's no good. Same with the lime.
It's absolutely freezing up here at the moment. Even our drinks are freezing over. Look.
The resulting house of rock and oak was strong enough to resist all attempts by nature to remove it. Insulation and modern glazing also made it warm and comfortable.
This is nice.
Yeah, we are getting there.
The house was sufficiently remote, there was no mains electricity. The few lights they did have ran from a small generator. An open fire at the coldest, exposed side of the house provided heat, while low ceilings, thick stone walls and small windows helped retain it. Chunky oak lintels and joists gave the building a robust, weather-resistant skeleton.
What you see is the structure of the building, wherever you look.
It is all exposed. This is what we like. This gives the right feel to it.
So the principal reason for using these materials is because they're practical.
Yeah.
And since you're using them and they look so good, you might as well just leave them exposed.
Exactly.
Definitely.
It's been over 10 years since I last drove up Adrian and Karina's precarious mountain track to visit them.
How's Karina?
Very well.
And you've got children. I mean, you've got, how old are they now?
2 boys, 4 and 7.
They must love it up here, don't they?
They don't get told off for making a lot of noise.
Yeah. And how have your winters been over the past 10 years?
We've had about 2 dodgy ones that caused some grief.
Not enough grief to damage their house, though. It's a tribute to the success and longevity of traditional building materials that after 10 years of harsh weather up here, the building is looking softer and better.
You enjoyed, I remember, the building in a material which is tradition and part of this place.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was just, no question that we were going to do anything else, really, rightly or wrongly. We just wanted to build something that we felt was in keeping, that, would hopefully stand up to the weather.
There's plenty of houses built this way that are still stood up. And so why reinvent the wheel? We knew this worked.
As their family grew, they rented out their sturdy old house and rebuilt the old barn next door as their new home. It is even more robust.
They are incredible. Even larger roof slates, actually, than on the house. Incredible.
How many ton, Adi?
70 ton of stone
roof.
on the roof.
Yeah.
70 ton.
The roof stays on because they're actually overlapping and holding.
I can see
each layer's slightly pressure in the one below.
They're half and half, aren't they?
Yeah, so
it's a big overlap.
There's only a third of the roof actually showing.
It ain't going to blow away. Have you suffered at all from any wind damage?
Not at all.
On the buildings?
Not a single. The one thing, I mean, when other people say they have windy conditions, there's 2 flagstones blew off our patio the other day. So that's when you know it's quite windy, when your flagstones start flying out.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, these are the broken ones up here. They were really caught by the wind and flew off.
It's not tied down, it will blow away.
It'll be gone.
Vernacular architecture is made in traditions which are special to a place, which have a local distinctiveness about them. That gives a fantastic connection, a fantastic identity to a place. However, it's possible still to design contemporary buildings in a vernacular tradition, using those same ideas, but using an entirely 21st century language. A modern steel frame will be stronger than a traditional oak one in a vicious climate. So that's what Colin McKinnon and Marta Briongos chose for their exposed airfield in South Lanarkshire.
We wanted something absolutely solid. With the wind up here, there's no way it was going to budge.
Earth-sheltered housing was brought into the 21st century by Phil and Helen Reddy in Cumbria in 2003. They built a heavy thermal mass concrete structure and added modern insulation and, of course, earth.
We looked at the various performance of different types of eco-house, and earth-sheltered houses come just way above the others.
And on the far-flung Isle of Skye, artists Rebecca and Indy Waterston, with their architect's rural design, decided to break with tradition and build an entirely contemporary, low-impact home that would sit within, rather than against, the extraordinary landscape.
The landscape for us, where we are, is as important as the house is, I think, because we didn't want to just live inside a house, we wanted to be part of the place.
The landscape's the reason why we're here.
To survive the weather here, Beck and Indy's contemporary gem had to be super strong. They used modern materials and engineering to achieve the same strength and durability as vernacular buildings. They started with 2 steel goalposts set in concrete to hold the building up against fierce winds.
The wind is gripping us like nothing on earth.
Rebecca and Indy's architect also gave the house an aerodynamic shape to help it survive the gales on the island.
You may ask yourself why Indy and Rebecca's house isn't blessed with a big oversailing roof to carry water away from the building. Why it hasn't got big eaves that project. And that's why, instead, luckily for them, they have a roof which does this. And it's a bit more elegant.
The turf hat this building wears makes it look like a moss-covered boulder. The super-insulated wooden cocoon is protective, airtight, healthy and modest. Designing and building something to survive in the remote is a mighty task. So, What is the pull of these wild places? What is it about these landscapes that draws us in and, despite their harshness, compels us to want to live there? What is it about landscapes like this that draw us to them, that make us want to live in them? I think it's romance. I think it's the romantic drive to make a connection with the natural world, to leave behind the modern urban civilized existence and instead connect to something more primitive that awakens, if you like, the natural within us. Nikki and James Debris were inspired to build their very bespoke, beautiful home by the surrounding magical landscape of the French Alps. I am so jealous. This is a nature reserve. It's paradise, isn't it?
It's paradise.
It really is. The beguiling charm of rugged Northumberland lured Stefan and Anya Lipkowski.
The first moment when I was brought here, it had a special feel about it, this place, so there was no discussion.
It's got a wild feel about it, and I think that's something we want to keep.
Why are people attracted to the remote, I suppose, is because it's a sense of going back to what is elemental, something simpler. We're surrounded by so much technology, so much stress, so many demands on us, on ourselves, so much noise. The idea of being somewhere remote is the idea of being somewhere that doesn't have any of that.
Just moving to the wilderness to immerse yourself in nature isn't enough for some. There are those who choose to build in order to forge a deeper connection.
You know, it's one thing to build a house in a landscape like this. It's quite another to build it of that landscape. To exploit, for example, a ruined old wall, or to dig even deeper, to delve into the resources beneath your feet and use materials that nature itself provides.
In Northumbria, Stefan and Anya connected their new building to the area by using buried stone from old buildings on the site.
We're putting old back, not new.
We're using the stone that belongs to this plot.
In Herefordshire, Ed and Rowena Waghorn sourced their timber from a local wood in the most traditional way possible.
What's really important is that it feels good. It feels really good just to be getting it from 2 miles away, cutting it, sawing it and building it at home.
If you're building in nature, you're tempted to replicate nature to some extent. That's part of the fun of living in the wild, that you are so in contact with nature, you're applying it to your house. And the fact they're made out of local materials makes them peculiarly attractive. There's a story, there's a narrative to those places.
In 2003, Ben Law's house told just such a story. Deep in a wood in West Sussex, he wanted to make his house as much as possible from what was available in his forest.
What's it going to look like, this house? It's going to be made of wood, from the woods. The idea being that it will season and blend into the woodland quite quickly. Although it's going to be a comfortable house, I want it to sit gently in the woodland.
Ben's choice of materials were of that place and made a connection to that landscape. And so did the timber framing method he devised specifically around the chestnut poles he coppiced. There could have been no more local a design.
What a structure! Yeah, it's lovely to see the shape of the crux around me.
It's an unusual shape, isn't it?
I mean, most buildings are square or rectangular. It's very triangular. It is. It's one of the most simplest and strongest ways of putting wood together.
As it went up, Ben's home spoke of the pleasure and importance of making things, like the 12,000 wooden roof shingles he cut by hand, and of how local materials like clay for plaster still have a value. Ben's house is famous now. It has become a touchstone for low-impact living and a model of how we can use resources, making do with what we've got. Ben was able to find a use for almost every natural material he foraged. These window seats are a typical example.
So where's this wood come from?
This is out of the woods here. I've used really pieces I've had stacked around for a while, and which I'd normally make into seats or furniture to sell, and thought, oh, that would do nicely.
In cleverly improvising his window seats using leftover wood, Ben showed himself to be a master salvager. Salvaging is a crucial part of the mindset of the remote self-builder. In the hands of a good recycler, the most unlikely of materials find a new use. On the edge of a forest in the Lot, Mark and Debbie made straw bales into walls.
Kevin, how are you?
In an isolated corner of Cambridgeshire, Kelly and Masako Neville turned a rotted tree into a bespoke staircase.
What a thing! Out of this kind of very knobbly kind of organic object comes these kind of very sculpted forms.
I think repurposing materials that are already there in a remote area is part of the tradition of the place that allows a lot of creativity, and I think it's a fundamental part of how you create in a remote area.
I'd like to see everybody develop a little bit more of a scavenging mentality. There's nothing undignified about it, and it's right in a society where we are running out of resources.
Perhaps the ultimate repurposers were eco-warriors Darren Howarth and A.D. Norcher. They moved to a remote location in France to build a house almost entirely out of recycled materials. They salvaged timber from a builder's yard. They scavenged volunteers to build their house. They even repurposed their main structure, tyres.
We're going to use just under 1,000 of these tyres. They're quite big ones. And yeah, we're not paying anything for them.
They made walls from the tyres by ramming them with earth. It made for top-notch insulation and high thermal mass.
You're reusing something that would otherwise just be rubbish,
Okay.
so it's
like a carbon-neutral home.
Yeah.
Minimum consumption of energy, and it looks after itself, but it's also using recycled materials to build it with.
Darren and Adi also used recycled materials to bring light into an otherwise windowless bathroom.
Now press this one in. Never done this before. Do you like the idea? Do you like this idea?
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you see the finished effect. I mean...
See, I've seen so many of these things that just look a bit crap.
This one didn't, though. In fact, for a house put together from waste products and reused materials, the building was very coherent.
What do you think?
Hey! Oh, it's lovely. Oh, this is good, isn't it? This is radically different from when I saw it last. Absolutely beautiful.
This was an exemplary project that used waste, which is abundant even in the wildest parts of the earth, as a resource, and set an example of how many of us are going to be building in the future.
Do you know what? This is my favourite room.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Partly because you've got this kind of great, big, curving, wild wall, you know, that's just hinting at the car tyres underneath. I like that. It's just so satisfying.
This was a building made with the most unconventional of materials by the most unconventional of people. It's a characteristic of those moving to the wilderness I've become familiar with.
You know, when people move to the margins of society, when they drop out, inevitably that big sea change, that big step that's required, makes mavericks of them. It's inevitable. And so also the buildings they build are also maverick, radical.
Over the last 15 years, I've been privileged to witness firsthand the architectural achievements of these mavericks of the remote. In splendid isolation, they've pushed at styles of building which work with, and sometimes break with, local traditions. In a forest miles from anywhere in southern Ireland, Sean Simon sought to resurrect a castle nearly 200 years old and fill it with his mad ideas.
That tower, all of it, on top is going to be a jacuzzi.
You're joking.
Just as romantically, in Monmouthshire, Nigel and Tamayo Hussey put a whole Japanese bathhouse on top of their forest home.
So they had the first experience of our outdoor hot tub.
On the moors of Northumberland, Stefan and Anya restored a charming old cottage, built a new house next to it, and then united them with a brutalist industrial glass link.
Oh, this is lovely. Yeah, there is a lot of metal in this building, isn't there? I mean, look at all this. I mean, great big beams and posts and bolts everywhere. Looks like an MOD submarine base.
It needed something rugged and raw. It didn't want something that was twee.
Perhaps one of the most radical isolated homes I've seen is that built by architects Chris and Helen Seymour Smith. In 2010, they designed a maverick underground scheme in an area of outstanding natural beauty in the Cotswolds.
Does this old building stay?
Yep. It certainly does. That's going to be my office.
Where are you going to live?
Underneath it, of course.
Standing on the roof.
Here.
Yep, this is the roof of the kitchen we're standing on right now.
It seemed a mad idea. To build their house without damaging the barn, they had to build a temporary steel frame to support it, then excavate underneath. Building below the barn allowed Chris and Helen to introduce a pioneering and minimal home, England's first passive house, into a traditional landscape.
Hello, Chris.
Kevin.
The transition from agricultural to crisp white walls, it's extraordinary. Bang!
That's the right thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's so bright, isn't it, in here?
This house wore its engineering approach on all its sleeves. Industrial piping and conduits inside, solar panels outside to provide power and shade.
I don't think I've ever seen photovoltaics included as a brise-soleil on a building like this. Lovely idea.
The bold experiments of these pioneers of the remote would not be possible without the engineering advances of the modern world. So how, in the 21st century, does technology allow us to unleash our imaginations in the wild?
The steel frame, that's what's taking the load, that's what's giving it the strength. It just looks solid, it looks reassuring, but it doesn't look heavy.
In the past 15 years, there's been a real change in the way that we build homes. It's easy to imagine, isn't it, just how living in a wilderness like this and trying to make a home here implies somehow a great deal of compromise. But you don't have to live in a leaky shack or an upgraded tent.
As building technology advances, so its reach advances. New technology is desirable and necessary in remote places. A low-energy lifestyle can come from burying concrete walls in the earth. Triple glazing will now afford you views in the coldest of climates. Steel has a role to play in making buildings more rigid and efficient. Many remote self-builders do not spurn technology, they embrace it, so they can enjoy greater freedom and self-expression.
It's an exhilarating place to work. It inspires architects, but I think it also inspires clients and people who are building houses to be a bit braver, to kind of express their enjoyment really of where they are.
It is almost the ideal commission for an architect to build in an environment where there aren't a lot of planners breathing down your neck, hundreds of people putting in objections to what you're going to do. And it's very much the vision of someone who is obviously passionate about being there and has a very clear idea of the way that they want to live.
Two people with such a passion were Colin and Marta, whose love of flying led them to build the most remarkable home on their airfield.
It's going to be a bit like a control tower.
A little bit like a sort of control tower, yes. It means we can have a good look over things, see what's going on, because we will have most of our living space on the first floor, which will give us a better view over the entire airfield.
But they didn't want just another chunky airfield structure. They commissioned from their architect, Richard Murphy, a delicate piece of sculpture, dependent on a precisely engineered steel skeleton.
I think it's absolutely brilliant, the ridge is curved.
It would, I mean, that's down to Marta because she wanted curves in the house. It's those tiny little things that actually turn out to be major things and just make all the difference to the project.
Colin and Marta used mill-finished corrugated aluminium cladding for the building's skin. They also used special glazing to help the building better resist the elements.
It's quite thick glass because it's actually taking quite a heavy structural load with the wind. Because the glass is so thick, you can see the colour of it. There is that glass green tinge, which is really nice.
I like that.
Thanks to the latest in building technologies, Marta and Colin's home is robust and warm, while still providing the maximum visual contact with the outdoors. Life in the far-flung corners of Britain does encourage self-builders to experiment with new building technologies. And as pioneers, I take my hard hat off to them for trialling new off-grid technologies, new hybrid solar panels or wind turbines, for example. It's technology like this that makes a life of self-sufficiency possible.
I think one of the great appeals of living off-grid is that attractiveness of being not so heavily reliant on the infrastructure that modern society provides most of us with, you know, that great support system of power and energy and goods that we all rely on. And instead, you know, out here, you survive on what you've got. And with that comes a tremendous pride of being able to provide for yourself and your loved ones, you know, a real sense of satisfaction, like being master of your own destiny.
There is a holy trinity of self-sufficiency. Firstly, if there's no local supermarket or store, you're going to need to produce your own food, like Ed and Rowena Waghorn.
Feeding yourself and looking after yourself and being responsible is hugely important.
Secondly, with no mains electricity, you're going to have to produce your own energy and heat, as Ben Law did.
The electricity from there runs into my battery storage.
They're huge!
They are. They're 2 volts each from an ex-submarine.
Submarine batteries. And thirdly, with no dust cart or sewage connection, you're going to have to deal with your own waste, as Rob and Alida Saunders did back in 1998.
You simply sit on the toilet, you do your business, it falls through into a composting chamber, and after a while it composts down into a really nice, friable compost.
I mean, this is poo?
Yeah.
If you live in a remote area, you're going to have to be pretty self-sufficient. You have to think about what happens if you get cut off, if you can't get supplies, if you need to make a living, how do you do that? So if you're not prepared to be self-sufficient, even for small amounts of time, I think you would really struggle.
There are those remote dwellers who aren't just prepared to be self-sufficient, they see it as a principle of ethical living, like the inhabitants of this remarkable eco-community.
This is an experimental, a pioneering project by the Welsh Government that is truly off-grid, and it's in Pembrokeshire. It's called Lammas. There's no mains electricity here, no gas, and every household has to fend for itself and work amongst and with nature.
That includes developing sustainable income from the land, building in self-sufficient ways, and living a low-impact life. Residents like Jasmine Dale are committed to living responsibly and ecologically.
Primarily, I'm here living like this so that I can take responsibility for the consequences of being human on the earth. So that means where my water goes to, where it comes from, where my fuel is sourced from. It was a clear route to me that by coming to live in this sort of environment, that I could take responsibility.
The drive to be ecologically sustainable is a very powerful one for a lot of people, particularly if they've thought deeply about the state of the planet. I think it makes sense intellectually and emotionally and practically to try to be self-sufficient.
It makes sense creatively too. Self-sufficiency can drive an architectural vision. The buildings of Lammas are one expression of that. So is the house that Kelly and Masiko Neville built in the Cambridgeshire Fens in 2007, around their daily routines of biodynamic gardening and foraging.
I always end up building on my own almost by default because that's what I've always done. I visualize the form I want to give it, and I work on it, and I don't want any distraction in the process of doing that.
A carpenter by trade, Kelly took on a dizzying variety of roles on the project, from designer and labourer to project manager and builder, working on everything from the foundations to the underfloor heating.
I worry about his health and his safety, but whenever I ask him, are you enjoying it? He always says yes.
The fruit of their labour was a beautifully crafted house that promised to look after its occupants with the same holistic care they had lavished on it.
Oh, yes. This is exactly as beautiful and as delightful as I thought it would be.
Delightful and cleverly designed in the centre of a landscape for self-sufficiency. And at its epicentre, a light well with a view to the stars.
There's a lot of nice little cheated solutions here. And then you've got these glass panels, which are cheating light in, aren't they? From the light well in the centre of the building. I like those very much. Where are they from?
From a glass sculptor. Lovely sections of riven glass.
It was discarded in his yard.
At night, the wind turbine generated the little power they needed.
Free power! Yes!
Kelly and Masiko cleverly designed their self-sufficient life around what their land could offer. By burning homegrown willow in his wood burner, Kelly could power the underfloor heating. By recycling waste water, they could feed the vegetable garden that fed the family.
I'm growing 30 kinds of vegetables and, of course, berries and fruits.
Yeah, so in terms of your weekly shopping bill, does it make a real difference?
Oh yes, particularly in summertime, I don't have to buy vegetables.
A lower impact and more remote life allows you to detach from society, to an extent. These days, it's almost impossible to avoid other people, wherever you are. Time was when you could live in a remote place like this and not have contact with a single other human being from one end of the year to the next. And now, of course, technology provides us with instant communication all over the world, which means that the remote is inevitably less remote. For dwellers in the wild, the world is now much more accessible, thanks to the growth of technology and infrastructure, mobile networks and the internet. For Adrian and Karina, halfway up a Welsh mountain, it meant 5 years after moving in, they no longer needed to rely on their generator. For the first time, they had mains electricity to light their house, heat their water, and store their voluminous quantities of food. What's in the freezer?
Our pigs that we...
Tom, Dick and Harry.
Yeah.
Oh my, it's full!
I know.
What do you got over in the house then?
Yeah, I've got a couple more freezers over here.
There's another full one. So where's the fourth one? Is this, oh, this is it here?
Fridge, yeah.
Oh, it's, oh my lord.
And...
Oh my lord,
yeah,
yes.
I know.
You know, what do you do when you run out of champagne?
I know, yeah. There's nothing to be done, you need enough.
You need a big shot. Comforts such as electricity that we take for granted in cities have transformed Adrian and Karina's life up on the mountain.
We're one of the very few families that don't moan about the electric bill when it comes in. We're still grateful to have electricity rather than not. Life's just easier with it. Family life would be far more tricky.
Yeah, and you have the internet?
Yeah,
yes.
We're very modern.
Do you feel as if it's eaten into that sense of isolation and remoteness that you enjoyed?
Not particularly internet.
No.
You'd say TV is a lot worse for
Yeah.
us than internet.
Yeah, because I quite like that tranquility and that quietness. And not having the option of it was quite nice on the generator. Yeah, I quite miss that.
You still miss that?
I do, yeah.
Living by candlelight and talking to each other, wasn't it? It was like...
It's a woman thing, right?
On the whole, the electricity is a good thing to have.
We would recommend
it.
it.
The internet is a good thing to have.
Yes.
The television is not.
Not.
No.
No.
Bad news for me. The connectedness to the wider world that technology brings is often a welcome new development in remote areas. But connectedness to other people has always been an essential part of life out here. The greatest paradox of the wilderness is that a life of isolation and solitude is only possible with the help of a community.
Good.
Yeah, You might think that turning your back on civilization to live in the remote wilderness means an isolated existence. But in fact, the opposite is true. In the wilderness, other people, community, no matter how small, are essential for survival. In a stormy, hostile climate, the community is your lifeline for repair work, emergencies, food and support. To be embraced by it is therefore crucial. For Rebecca and Indy, to have their modern building accepted by the locals on Skye was very important.
We thought we would move in and then we would finally have time to get to know our neighbours, get to know the community, and actually it hasn't happened that way. The relationships have been built as the house has been built.
It's fantastic. It's just so nice to see something modern with the grass on the roof and just see it blending in. And, oh, it's fantastic.
There's immediately much more a feeling of community in the remote than there is in big cities. You know, the smaller remote places, people tend to look after each other.
You can find yourself less independent and autonomous than you realised. Particularly if you're dependent on one neighbour 10 miles away, you're thrust by need and by duty and obligation into a small community.
The total isolation of the remote life is a myth. The self-builders of Grand Designs have shown me that existence there would be impossible without people. Ben Law is a case in point. He moved to the woods by himself, but as time went on, he connected not just to the land, but the people around him.
Is he? Yeah.
Firstly, as he built his house.
I think it's almost time for beer.
Then, when he met Bev and had a family.
And who is this?
This is Ed.
Now Ben's life is integrated with the small village nearby. He's built a community shop using the same local materials, cruck-framed design and techniques he developed for his home. It's run by volunteers and feeds any profit it makes back into the village.
I'm impressed. It's very elegant.
Thank you. In the past, people were maybe driving 8 miles to and fro to get a pint of milk.
Yeah.
You know, my parcels, you imagine a parcel trying to get up to my place. It's not very easy. So they drop them off here. You know, they'll sort out all sorts of things from here for different people in the village. So it's a real networking hub.
It means your life is well provided for. You know, it's inevitable, isn't it, that
it is.
You have to plug in.
You do. You do.
Ben is anything but alone. Now he welcomes aspiring woodland managers, educational groups and corporate folk to spread the word about the off-grid life. Self-builders of the wilderness are trending.
The values of self-reliance and self-sufficiency, which are so necessary when you live somewhere out of the way, are now also emerging back in our towns and our cities. They are becoming fashionable.
The surprising thing about the architecture of the far-flung wildernesses of Britain is how much it's affecting design in our cities. How we survive in our wildest landscapes is feeding back into everyday life. Remote dwellers have made self-sufficiency mainstream. Ian Hogarth and Claire Farrow, who built a magnificent disco basement home in London, clad their house in solar panels, which now provide heat and charge their electric car.
We're generating so much electricity, I can do a week's worth of journeys, I think, for about £2.
City dwellers have also adopted elements of wilderness design as a means of integrating buildings with their environments.
Hello.
Hello.
Ben and Rachel Hammond gave their house on the edge of a park in South London a green roof to better help it blend into the adjacent landscape.
I think this green roof is more important than a second bathroom because it's so much part of the view as you look out from these bedroom windows and out into the park. This is where the park starts as far as I'm concerned.
I think a remote life is still something that many people, probably in an urban environment, aspire to, even in a small way, just to keep that contact with nature, because cities historically have almost become about denying the presence of nature.
Whilst wilderness architecture influences our cities, so urban design ideas of maximising light, cheating space, and zoning open-plan living areas have infiltrated building design in the remote, evolving architecture previously barely changed for centuries at a rapid rate. At the outer reaches of Scotland, there is an extraordinary project on the tiny island of Tiree, home to only 650 people. I think this house might represent the future of building in the wilderness.
Oh, wow. What a beautifully integrated piece of modern architecture this is.
This is the award-winning House 7 that encapsulates some of the best ideas in remote architecture that I've seen, using local materials, technology, and sleek, weather-resistant forms. It recycles an existing building and upgrades it, then stitches it among a new family of structures. Modern technology brings comfort to the historical guest wing, which is connected to a new building via the embrace of a functional entrance and hall.
Hello.
The house was built by architect Murray Kerr for his parents Liz and Dave.
Murray, good to see you. How are you? It's light and warm and spacious. You designed this, and it's won awards. And it has been adopted by the local authority as an exemplar dwelling.
I was happy that the planners did take the view they did, rather than approving bungalows and so on that you see on other islands. This is a much more interesting concept.
The inside is a sequence of delightful, changing spaces that are generous and enjoyable.
And tell me how this building then relates to its setting and the weather and the landscape and how it looks after you.
We're very careful about looking at the orientation, the sheltered south-facing garden, the entrance is in the northeast away from the prevailing winds, and the building's all slightly sail past each other, so there's always a place for shelter so you can go and have a cup of coffee in the sun.
Unusually, Murray has also dug down to make a bedroom basement that hunkers into the dunes of this low-lying landscape.
We dug down because we were able to. Sandy and a good idea.
Going down, that's something you can do, which again protects you from the elements.
The environment's quite hostile here. The salty water, big winds on the edge of the East Atlantic. It's a ferocious place to live at times.
So, the traditional stone walls of the old listed building have been rebuilt with insulation. Every space is accommodating, welcoming and comfortable. There's no place I'd rather be in a gale on Tiree.
Lovely. Oh, another great wagon roof. Tremendous height. And tremendous views and connection out.
Murray has also taken advantage of modern glazing to improve on the traditional. There are no small windows here.
They're much larger than you'd expect to find in a traditional house on the island. And that's thanks to
technology.
Yeah, double glazing.
Which delivers the strange and exciting combination of warmth and comfort in confrontation with the wildness of the landscape and the weather here. No wonder it's become a social magnet for their extended family and the wider community.
I think we had 22 people we put all the way down here, eating fish and chips all the way around the table, and that was a big test of how the room can stretch and then contract to be fine just with Dave and I. I feel privileged to be able to build in this spot on this island that we like so much and have a house that just does exactly what we wanted it to do. It's a house for our family.
Out here on the very edges of our built world, sturdy, contemporary and comfortable, House 7 is a worthy representative of how we should build in our remotest of places. Over the last 15 years, I've seen self-builders in the wildest locations devise homes which are intelligent, responsible and responsive to where they are, that so often bring people together, which surely is one function of all great architecture.
I think I've learned that buildings do have this amazing power to change who we are, to make us happy. Great architecture doesn't just protect and nurture us, it can really help us flourish. One architecture critic said that any great building ought to be capable of absorbing large quantities of human energy and then, over time, repay it with interest. The most important freedom to recognise in the suburb is the freedom to design.
Just a series of decker guns.
It was a perfect circle. It's what nature would do. Nature doesn't grow squares.
You see these other chalet bungalows, you come around and you go, wow! Across the acacia avenues and myrtle groves of Britain, there's a building revolution going on.
All my life I've envisaged a white house. We've got one now.
So next Thursday from 8, the grand designs of suburbia. Now, next tonight, saying the immortal words "I do" to a complete stranger. Still can't quite believe this is actually going to happen. Two scientifically matched couples are about to marry at first sight.